The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Well, first off, I think it's great that Virginia-Wise is now in our conference. I think that's a positive for all of us that are in the conference, the proximity of it, the help with all of us in our conference scheduling is a tremendous help, and hopefully we can find another one or two more teams that we can get into our league that do play football, that because it's hard scheduling in Division II, especially in this conference. If you've been a successful team, then it's hard to get a schedule, and we're glad to have it. It's we're literally playing somebody that we don't know very much about at all. That's the X factor. We've watched them on video, and gosh, they've been very competitive. They had a great blowout win the first game. They took Tennessee Tech, an FCS school, to task. And then had the opportunity to beat Mars Hill this past Saturday. So, they're a good football team. They're very, very gritty. They play hard. They run to the football on defense, and on offense, they're going to be sound in what they do and go attack you. So they're a good football team.
You kind of alluded to it. What is it like preparing to play a team for the first time, and it mean a little bit more considering it's a conference game?
Well, yeah, you're going to play them the first time. It's a conference game, and you really haven't seen them in the past against common opponents before. You haven't seen that. We were trying to find somebody they'd played. They'd been an option team where there wasn't any. All right, so we've gone through that list this morning, and so here's what we have to do. We have to line up and be us, all right, and execute what we can do best. And, a lot of it is TBD, is to be determined, how they line up on Saturday and what they decide to do.
Last Saturday, you guys were fantastic at hitting home runs, but need some gap singles and some doubles. How do you leg out some gap shots to the right center field alleyway?
Well, we talked to our football team yesterday, the whole football team, and we talked offensively, and we're an option offensive football team. We go in at halftime Saturday night, and we had 25 snaps and had 4 touchdowns. Now, you're not going to argue about having 4 touchdowns, but we only had 25 snaps. That's not us. We talked about having to win the chains, and we reminded them that on their first page, and I had them all turn to their notebook yesterday, on their first page it talks about expectations. One of the expectations in this offense is that you have a 4-yard mentality. Now, do you want to go 68? Oh, absolutely. You do every time you snap the ball. But we have to have a 4-yard mentality so the positive things with the chains keep moving. 2nd and 6 and 2nd and 5 is a manageable down and distance. When you start looking at 2nd and 8 and 2nd and 9 all the time, that's not acceptable. And that's not acceptable in this offense or any offense. It doesn't matter what kind of offense you are, you got to win the battle of the chains, and we didn't get that done. Our kids know that. We didn't get that done. We had some mistakes offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game that those mistakes can get you beat. When you give them 13 points off of mistakes and the score is 30-28, that tells you a little bit about the night.
Student Appreciation Week. Here for the UVA-Wise game, free tailgate for the students before the game. What's that mean for Carson-Newman to do something for the greater student body?
Well, I think that's awesome that you celebrate the students. All right, that we celebrate the students that are here. We've got students that are great fans. Our whole premise here at Carson-Newman is that we're a family. It doesn't matter what sport it is, baseball, football, basketball, tennis, golf, whatever it is, we're a family. And we should support each other completely. And also the student body, and it's great to see them up on campus and see them at different places in town and talk about football games coming up, those kind of things. So we're excited about having them.
UVA-Wise, defensively, what is it about them that makes them so stout?
Well, when you look at stats and where they are, they've got some guys that have already had 2 interceptions. They're playing a man coverage, a bump and run man coverage up in your face, and they're pretty gritty at it. Okay, they're going to take care of the perimeter with man coverage. And they've got a box issue of where they've got 6 to 7 in the box, but they're solid. And the type of athletes they got that, they're just tough kids, all right, and they look like they enjoy playing.
When you went back and watched the film from Saturday, what stuck out to you in terms of some areas of correction?
Well, when I went back and watched that video about 6 times, Michael, the corrections, we talked to our kids yesterday, it's a first down emphasis. Now, do you throw the ball on first down? Absolutely you do, okay? Absolutely you do. But we have to say we're going to run the football, we're going to have that 4-yard mentality. We got to do that. Any offense has got to do that. And we had some breakdowns execution-wise, and it's not from a lack of there was no lack of effort. We've got to learn how to play. Every week's a Super Bowl, and we've got to understand people are going to give you your best shot. And when it got down to it, we didn't give our best shot at times Saturday night. Obviously that's were they prepared? Yes. Did they have a great week of practice? Yes. Did they travel well? Yes. And players got to play. That's
How do you go about protecting the football better?
Well, when you it certainly is something that we work on every day. There's 3 points that we leave them every Saturday before we play. It's play fast, all right, play hard, take care of the football. It's not a was the ball in jeopardy. It's got to be a focus, and it's got to be a urgency about them. And if we can't, we will have to make some changes to make sure that their urgency is there. We're moving the football and we're executing the football. We're a great football team, and we throw 4 touchdown passes in the first half. Well, 3 of those touchdown passes came off of play action. How does that happen? Because of the way people are trying to play the option. That means you got to execute the option at a high level, so those people have to react a certain way. They give you that play action pass.
Talking about matchups, now you have 2 games under your belt with Braxton. 3 touchdowns last week, 1 called back the first week. You would think teams might start game planning for him. How do you utilize that to your advantage? Well,
I hope they start game planning for him, and that opens it up for some other kids like Romaine and some of those cats, Devon. But if they start, the whole purpose of being an option football team and throwing the football is to get people out of that box. And I don't think Braxton Westfield can be covered by one guy. I think he's a very talented young man. So if it forces people to try to double cover or bracket cover him, then we've kept people out of the box to run the option.
You mentioned some of the guys that you get the ball to. Well, Trevor McCarroll, not only did he catch it, but
right.
He outran everybody, which I think may
right.
surprise some people that were up
right.
in the stands. What's a guy like him mean to this team, this offense, not just in the passing game last week, but his ability to block and be a leader?
Well, it's and that's one thing every football team needs is leadership. And Trevor has grown so much in the 4 years that he's been here as a young man. Is handling some issues and overcoming issues. He's done that. And, sometimes people don't know the whole story behind all these kids and where they come from. And they've all got different issues that they bring. But we just made a point to them yesterday, when you come here, there's an eagle on your helmet. There's a name Carson-Newman on your jersey. Not anybody got a name on it. All of that belongs to Carson-Newman. So they're a Carson-Newman eagle. And you ask kids that they've all got a role to play. You got to play action. You got to dive back going in there, and he's not getting the football. He's designed to block a linebacker. All right, so you've got a role to play. And Trevor is a guy that enjoys his role, wants to do more, obviously, and I like that about a kid that wants to do more. But he also knows what his role is, and he's trying to get better at that role. And nobody could get good enough being a blocker. We can always improve in that area right there. So I admire his grit and his fight in him.
You mentioned leadership. Well, you look at the defensive side of the ball. Yes, Darius Williams to almost play as a defensive end at times last week. Put him down in the box on the edge.
Right.
What's it mean not only to have a guy that's willing to do that, but also to have the experience in the defensive backfield to be able to take one of your top defensive players and move him around like that?
Well, I think that's part of the whole plan defensively is that they can't say there they are, okay, this is how we go attack them. So you got to give them different looks. You got to create situations where a guy like Darius Williams can be turned loose off the edge. And Michael, we had some other situations where we had people turn loose off the edge, and that was a couple of mistakes. We missed some tackles and gave away some big plays. But we've got kids on defense right now that have been asked to do certain things, like a Rondro changing linebacker positions to help make up for Antonio. So they're understanding. That goes back to that role. I do exactly what I'm asked to do. I do it to the best ability I can, and I trust that this is what's best for the football team. I trust those guys beside me are going to make plays, and then you can be an effective football team.
UVA-Wise offensively, two-quarterback system at present standing. What's similar, what's different about Tanner, Bernard, and Garrett Crop?
Well, I think those guys, they try to, like most spread teams or whatever, they're trying to get you outflanked at times. They want to run the zone and part of their offense split zone. If they can, they'll get those quarterbacks out to the edge. But you think, well, they're a spread team, and if you're not having them accounted for defensively, then there's a threat that gets out on the side of you. You can't, and they got one-man advantage on you.
How fun is this game, considering the alumni base that Carson-Newman has in Kingsport and the Northern Virginia area?
Well, we've got a great support group in that area, Southwest Virginia, Northeast Tennessee. I think it's great for them to be able to come here because they've been inundated with Virginia-Wise, those kind of things. So they're hoping this becomes a rivalry game, similar to like a Tusculum deal because of the proximity, and that's the way it should be. Got great fans, and the same way with Virginia-Wise. They've got kids out of the Knoxville area, the Morristown area, so it should be a great football game.